Hey everyone, welcome to another Funds Activities video training. This is probably going to be one of the most useful forms, useful pages that you use within the system created and made just for you. So for your club/student page, homepage, you are going to go ahead and click on the word finance because we're going to learn about how to use your money. So from the finance area, this is where all your questions can be answered in terms of how can I create a purchase request and how can I create a funding request. Now, a lot of students too sometimes want to go into the finance section to find out what they've spent in the past. It provides a history for you of the subject titles, how much was paid or approved to be used for that purchase request or funding request, and the status, whether it's completed pending, meaning Brother Steve, who is our business manager for club slash org student accounts, has approved it, or whether or not he has denied it. In addition to that, you can also see a PDF of what were the details of that specific purchase request, and that kind of looks like this over here. So for example, you can see that this purchase request was completed um, and the date the person had submitted, what the details were on that form, etc. So to create a new purchase request, you would just simply go ahead and click on the plus sign that says create a purchase request. And you would go ahead and enter the required information here. With some key things to remember is that if you have an event associated with this purchase request within Activities, it's good to give it the same name. So if your event is librarians lose their mind and you want to create a purchase request to purchase books or something like that, go ahead and in the subject area put in the same name, librarians lose their mind. Also, go ahead and put in the requested amount you'd like to spend in there for us to see, as well as a description. In the account area, you want to go ahead and just click on what's available to you, which is Graduate Student Council account, so we know which one you're using. And in the categories, you want to pick the category that best describes your purchase request or event. So is this going to be for entertainment, media advertising, etc.? Just pick the best one. Payee information. Payee information is the vendor. It is not your information. Um, so just to clarify there, sometimes students will get nervous because they will have like a place, let's say for example Froyo, and they'll say, well, Froyo doesn't have a last name. Well, that's fine. Just go ahead and enter in that first name area, Froyo, or for example, Pizza Pipeline, etc. And don't worry about the last name box. And enter the street address, the city, the state, and the zip code if you have that information. One of the things to note is please enter your information. When you say your email, enter your activities, or I should say your Gonzaga email, so we can contact you, and a cell phone number where you can readily be reached. And what funds are you using? So in this what funds you are using field, it says club funds, which is just your club fund, whatever that may be. GSBA funds, which lets us know that you are doing a funding request from GSBA to get money, and once you get that money, then we will approve or review the purchase request that you submitted, or both, whether you're using a combination of club funds and GSBA funds. Also, let us know whether or not the item you're purchasing on the invoice has tax included in it. If it does not have sales tax included on it, we will include it for you, which means we will calculate it in. A lot of students are kind of curious about that because they're like, oh, I submitted a purchase request for $200, and then they get it back and it's like $208 or $10.15. I don't know. Um, so that's because we entered the sales tax amount for you. Um, and enter the vendor information. So what vendor will you use to purchase the item from? So we keep a list here with vendors students have used, for example, last academic year. So if you see the vendor on here, go ahead and click that vendor, and then in this box right here, enter not applicable or NA. If you don't see that vendor listed, go ahead and click other, and then in this box, enter the vendor's name. What date you will be purchasing these items lets us know how soon we need to get the purchase request completed because it has to touch various offices. So it goes from you to Brother Steve. Brother Steve reviews it and checks to make sure you have the money in your account. Once it's approved by Brother Steve, he notifies you and then goes ahead and forwards it to the next step, which is another office. So there are a lot of people involved. So just think in advance when you're trying to submit a purchase request. What date will you be purchasing the items? Of course, we just reviewed that. Are you selling any of the items? This is good for us to know because, again, there's multiple departments involved in this process, even though it just sounds like, oh, you're purchasing the item and trying to sell it. Also, is this item for a fundraiser? Yes or no? Will you need or be collecting money on CashNet? This is important too because CashNet is the site where people can go and purchase the items online um, and then pick them up from you later. And then lastly, one of the things to note for students, myself included, it's a good reminder, is that please submit an invoice with a quote, including sales tax. If you do not submit an invoice to us, it gets a little tricky and the process takes a lot longer because now we're trying to verify that the quote you told us for the purchase request is indeed true, or we just don't know what's going on. So please always submit an invoice or quote. Sometimes students will even have like an email from the vendor saying it's going to cost this amount with tax or without tax, and it'll have details in there. You can submit that too, and Brother Steve will review it. Okay, and then you have to check this box that says, I understand my purchase request will not be processed until an invoice, quote, or other form of documentation has been provided. So once you have submitted everything, if you want to contact Brother Steve's located in Hemmingson 304 now, or you can call him. His email is also provided here at souza at gonzaga.edu, and his phone number, if you scroll up, is listed right there, 313-5484. So we provided multiple fields where you can find his phone number. All right, and then you would click on the submit request button and it would go through. So if you have any questions about creating a purchase request, let us know. Creating a funding request is very similar to creating a purchase request, except that some of the additional fields you only have to fill out one section rather than all of them. Okay? All right. And now I know this process can be tedious, so if you have any questions, please contact the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership at 509 313 6123. Again, 509 313 6123. Um, yeah. Hope you enjoyed, everyone. Bye.